Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's video, I'm going to be discussing the ideas I took out of the last 50 pages of Atomic Habits, and I'm trying a bit of a different approach because it was taking me too long to write and film and edit and upload my videos. And so I'm just, instead of taking notes the entire time, I just read the 50 pages straight and then wrote down what I could remember at the end, which is the most important stuff. I'm going to start on something that I touched on in a couple of my previous videos, and for anyone who's new and hasn't watched those yet, that would be the topic of automaticity. And so automaticity is essentially when you are getting into a groove with a habit that you don't even have to think about it anymore, it just happens. So you walk into the bathroom first thing in the morning, you turn on the light, and then you brush your teeth. And for small habits like that, it makes sense to leave them that way. It doesn't really matter if you fall into automaticity with them. However, when you're working on more impactful habits that are maybe even creative or higher level, like maybe a sales habit, you don't want to fall into automaticity because that stops your growth. And instead, he says that every once in a while you need to almost step back and reassess what you're doing. And so, for example, my habit of uploading a video every day, every single one of these days that I've uploaded, I've changed something that I'm doing or put mental effort and energy into changing the thing that I notice, because I'm constantly reflecting. It's still the habit, I'm still doing it every day. However, I'm making those tiny changes and not getting complacent inside of the habit, thinking that I've mastered it. That's pretty much how you want to think about that. The next idea I want to talk about is accountability partners. So in the earlier stages of the book, he talks about making good habits more attractive and likely that you'll do them, and bad habits less likely and less attractive that you'll do those. Maybe we're okay with letting down ourselves, but we're not okay with letting down other people. And I have multiple friends who say that the only reason they showed up to the gym is because they knew I was going to be showing up to the gym and they didn't want me to be disappointed in them, or they didn't want to feel that guilt of I was supposed to go but didn't. So if you're struggling to work on a habit and struggling to stay consistent, consider having an accountability partner, and even consider the other idea in the book that he talked about is making a contract of sorts. Let's say you were supposed to go running after work and you skipped. Well, now tell your friend before, say, hey, if I don't send you a video of me running after work, I am gonna pay you $50. And I've actually done this before with a couple of buddies, and it works. Sometimes you mess up and then boom, you send out the money, and it sucks and you don't want to do it again, so you don't. So that's really effective in keeping you accountable with habits that you're struggling to start or struggling to keep up with. Now, the last thing that I thought was really interesting is a concept that James Clear calls the Goldilocks rule. Essentially, your mind can't be engaged or want to move forward in two scenarios. So in the story he tells, it's like, imagine you're playing tennis against someone who's pretty much as good as you, and here and there you win a few points and lose a few points. You're going to be very engaged in your mind and the effort you're putting in because you're so close. You just want to get one up on them and win. But imagine you're playing tennis against a toddler. That toddler is going to suck. You're going to win, and it's going to get boring because you don't have that competition, you don't have that resistance that you're trying to push through to get to, the dopamine hit. On the other side of that spectrum, he talks about, well, what if you were playing against a pro tennis player? You would get 0 points and you'd get destroyed and you would lose interest because it's too hard. When you're starting new habits, you want to make sure that it's challenging but not too challenging, because if it's too challenging, you're going to give up. I'm not a runner. I'm working on my running this year. I want to become more fit in terms of cardio, and it's also just good for you in general. That would be like me saying, I'm going to run 5 miles a day every day. Honestly, I could do it. After not running at all, about a month ago, I haven't basically ever trained running. But I went out and I ran 5 miles in 49 minutes, which is pretty good. And my mile time, if I were to go out right now, would be no more than like 7:30. But it would suck. And the thing is, my body would get tired and I would break down and get weak, and the odds of me failing to continue that habit are high. Now, could I maybe do it? Possibly. Do I want to do it? No. You got to start out at the spot that's just the right challenge for you. So if you haven't exercised at all, going back into some of the stuff I talked about in the other videos, your first habit is going to be, you get home from work, you just change into the workout clothes and walk out to your car. Well, now you're out at the car and you have your workout clothes on. There's no point to go back inside and not go to the gym. Just go. Now you're at the gym, you work out for 10 minutes, and then you leave. You do that for a week. after a week, you're gonna be like, well, I'm already here, I might as well work out another 10 minutes. And you're just basically ramping up the intensity of the challenge over time so that you don't get burned out, and so that also you don't feel like giving up. But you also don't want to make it too easy, because then you're also gonna get bored of it. Just like the example with playing tennis against a toddler, you're gonna get bored. If it's too hard, you're playing tennis against a pro, you're not gonna want to do it because you can't see any progress because you're just getting absolutely wrecked. This is the first book of the year. It's January 5th. Finished Atomic Habits. And I'm just going to throw this back on the shelf and grab the next one, which is Hyper Focus by Chris Bailey. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to be doing these videos, but I will not stop uploading one video every day, and I will not stop reading 50 pages of a book every day for the entire year. And we'll see how my progress goes with the channel, and I'm definitely going to be learning a lot from these books. So I'll see you guys tomorrow with my first 50 pages of Hyper Focus.